live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Today, I want to say hello. And yeah, I'm in the same outfit. Guess what that means? I'm going to be continuing on faith today. I thought to myself, what should I talk about today? And I was like, you know what? Yesterday when I spoke about faith, it was very high level. I think it was kind of like, just touching the surface on faith, and faith is a real big topic. And I felt like, what would be a good idea would be to walk you through my seasons of faith, through all different kind of aspects of my life, and then you can kind of like get an idea as to how I've walked it. And some of you may be walking it in exactly the same way. Some of you may have had like a way better faith experience than I have, or some of you may actually be struggling more than I struggled, and looking for solutions or looking for ways in which to help you through your season, because faith comes in so many different ways. And we know faith is about a substance that we cannot see, but it is what we hope for. So it's almost like it's like this thing that you hope to achieve, and you've got this assurance that you're going to achieve it even though you cannot see it. And I'm going to split it into different types of faith. The first faith I'm going to be talking about is the faith for, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I've just gone absolute dead. I've forgotten it's live. The faith for purpose. Oh my gosh, I got distracted because a call came through, and I had to cut off the call because I realized if I don't cut off the call, you're not going to hear me. And after the call came through, my thought process just went through. Anyway, we're back in the room. So, faith for purpose. And yeah, my story about that, and it is still a story because it's still continuing. But in terms of the early days, the first time I got a vision, and it was in the form of a dream. So sometimes God will give me dreams, sometimes God will give you dreams. And He gave me a dream, and this was probably about 15 years ago now. So He gave me a dream, and in this dream, I was kind of like doing all these events, like big, massive international events. So that was what I was doing in the dream, and when I woke up, incidentally, it was a period of time when I was still married, and I was actually putting on an event. So I thought that, oh my gosh, like the dream referred to the event, because in the dream there was lots and lots of people, and it was like, lots of people coming to attend the event. So I was like, oh wow. I told my partner at the time, I was like, you know what? I think this event that I'm doing, lots and lots of people are going to attend, are going to come, they're going to attend it. It's going to be great because God has told me in a dream, and you go on this vibe, and that's what I did. And anyway, the event was probably about 3 weeks after I had the dream. I was all geared up for the event. I went over and above and added additional things because I'm like, it's going to be massive. This is going to be packed out. It's going to be a packed out event that I'm going to be doing. And incidentally, it was an event on hair, and I was like, yeah, 100% certain that this was what it was going to happen. And to my discouragement, the event was probably the least attended event that I've ever done. And it just was absolutely awful. And yeah, it kind of like did not align at all to the dream that I had. So I remember thinking, like, what was that? Have I got it wrong? What happened there? Did I do something wrong? Anyway, fast forward a few years later from there, got divorced. So now I was divorced without anything, without a home. I was actually living in shared accommodation, without a home, without anything. I bought myself a new business. So I started on that, which was totally different from hair. And this was like a makeover and photography studio. I bought that business. Still at the back of my mind thinking, well, I had this dream, like, it doesn't seem to fit with anything that I'm doing. So I bought the business, and as you heard, probably I've said this some time ago, that business absolutely failed as well. So here was like a total different, a double down on, like, you know what? I couldn't have heard from God. That could not have been what God was talking about, because like everything is going downhill where I am compared to where that dream was showing me that I would be. Two different things. And I'm like, ah. So what do? I did my own thing. I strive to do this, I strive to do that, and I was continuously striving. And for the most part, I'd forgotten about the dream. I didn't even remember it, because yeah, like my situation was totally different to what that dream pictured. And I thought, yeah, like sometimes you can just have a dream and it's just you wanting something, or sometimes you can have a dream and it's a distraction. So I just thought, I just laid it to rest and continued my life. And you can imagine my life went from here to kind of like here. Went really, really bad. I had a season of real drought, like a really horrible season that I am so glad I'm no longer in. And but it was also a season where, you know, I started to learn a little bit more about God. And the funny thing is, at the time when I got the dream, I wasn't, I wasn't like always going to church. I wasn't always seeking God. Like if I had a problem, then I would. But then if I was fine and everything was hunky dory, then I wouldn't. I would just do my own thing. And I did a lot of things which, like, I'm sure God would be like, I don't think that's a good move, my daughter. I did a lot of those things in that period of time. Looked at my own decisions, made my own choices, did exactly what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. And I had some successes and I had some major failures in the line of everything, starting from relationships to money, to business ideas, to just the way I was dealing with my family, with friends, everything. It was just an absolute woeful period of time. And I think there was just one day where I think I shared the story where I had the business and I literally like lost everything. I wasn't running it right, like, owed so much money to so many different people. And yeah, and I think that was my first turning point where I decided, you know what, I don't think I can do this like on my own. I think I'm clearly not navigating this right, and I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what I'm doing. And then from then on, I started to kind of like give God a little bit of my life, not everything, just a little bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. And I started to see the transformation that was happening with me, you know, and things progressed like through the years. So this is going back like, so then it was going back 10 years, and then 13 years, and still like this whole dream that I had at the beginning, nothing. My life did not look anything like it. It was so different to what I was living, what my life was. Even though my life was more grounded in God, it was still far away from what that dream showed me. And but nevertheless, I continued, and life started to get a bit better. And tomorrow I'm going to talk really about, provision side of things. I'll talk about provision and how that's come across. But today, just really want to focus on the purpose side of things. And I feel like, sometimes God will give you a vision, and there'll be a season, and then He will give you back that vision, and He will then call you. So what kind of happened a few years ago, I started to see the vision come back again. And it was like, it was almost like I was being reminded about this vision, but I was still thinking, but I'm still so far away, because what I'm doing now is so different to the vision that I saw, although I could see how I could do a few things to kind of move it forward. So what did I do? I started to push forward in my own strength. I started to think, okay, maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that, maybe I need to do work in order for this vision to come into play. Maybe I need to help God, Have you ever been in a scenario where you're thinking, maybe I just need to help God a little bit? Because if I help God, then, have you ever been in that scenario? I've been in that so many times. But I've come to the point where I realize that God doesn't need help. If he's going to bring something your way, he's going to bring it your way. And actually, he brings it your way when you least expect it and when you know it could not have been you, because he wants all the glory. He doesn't want to share his glory with anybody. And why should he? So anyway, so I started on this journey thinking I was going to help God. I was going to get myself to this whole big massive event that, I was thinking I was going to be running or taking part of, or being in it. Yeah, and then I soon realized that actually no, it's not time. It's just not time, because the things I'm trying to do, they're not taking any traction. Nothing's happening. It's just becoming a distraction to my normal day-to-day job that I'm doing. So then I kind of thought, you know what, I'll just drop it, continue with what I'm doing. And, if God wants me to do something, he knows where I am. And then it was last year where I felt God actually called me and reminded me again. But in this time, he actually went, "Are you ready?" And I was like, you talking to me? It's like, you're talking to me. I'm like, well, if you want me to, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. And that's when the sequence started. So literally everything started moving in a total different direction. Doors started opening to things which I could never have even thought of walking into. And like I said, we're still in the season. I'm still going through it. But what I'm finding is that a brand new door in a total different dimension to what I'm being used to has suddenly opened up. And when I walked through that door, all these other things started to open up. And that's what's happening now. There's so many different things going on, which is and I can now start to see how I could be placed where God is saying that he's going to place me. And I know I'm not there yet. And I know that there are still things that God is working on, but he is now just moving me. So it's no longer me trying to do anything. It's just things are coming and opportunities are happening. And when I walk into it, it's like, this is good. This is good. This is good. So I know I'm now in a season where God is like, whatever that dream that I gave to you, it's now coming into fruition, and it will happen, because whatever word he has spoken over you will not be turned back to him void. It will always accomplish whatever it is he had set it to do, as long as you allow it to happen. So in relation to faith for purpose, one of the things that I want to say is that God will talk to you, because God is your creator. So he's created you, he's created me. And therefore, he knows what he's created you for. And he's created each and every one of us for a purpose. But there's no way God's going to create us for a purpose and not tell us what that purpose is. So he will come and he will tell you what the purpose is in one way or another, whether it's through a dream, whether it's through somebody coming to you, whether it's through you reading something, whether it's through just something like you have a passion for something, and it doesn't go away, and you know that you are meant to do something in it, and it's just that kind of inner knowing that I know I should do something, or there's even kind of something that you just do so naturally. And for other people it's a chore, but for you it's just natural. That's part and parcel of your purpose. God's got something for you that he wants to be able to use, that passion that you have. But the other thing that I know is that, when God has a purpose for you, it's not for you to try and fulfill that purpose. It happened with Abraham and Sarah, where God says, I'm going to give you a child, and that child is going to be, from that child, all the descendants of the nations will be created. And Abraham and Sarah thought, well, you know what, actually, we're running out of time here. We're in our old age at this point. How is this going to happen? And maybe we're supposed to try and help God. So then they tried to help God, And actually, that wasn't God's plan. So whether tells you he's got a purpose for you, then you just got to believe it in faith and wait for that purpose to come to pass, because it will come to pass. And when God is ready, he will call you again. Because even with Abraham and Sarah, he came back again. He sent his angels back again to say, actually, what I promised you, yes, I'm ready to do it now. So he will come back and actually remind you of the promise he's given to you, of the purpose that he has on your life. And he will then also ask you, are you ready? Are you ready for that to happen in your life? And you've still got a choice, because you can decide, actually, you know what, God, I'm good. You know what, I'm good here. I know you've given it to me, but I don't kind of want it. And God is a gracious God, because his word will be accomplished through one way or another, either through you or through somebody else. So the purpose will be accomplished through you or through somebody else. But isn't it great to be able to partner with God if he calls us and asks us if we are willing to do something with him? Isn't that just a huge blessing? Because at the end of the day, that's why we're brought into the world. He's brought us into the world for his purpose, for us to have a purpose and be able to establish our purpose on the world. So the thing is, like, don't try and strive for it. Don't try and push it yourself, because that's just you using your own wisdom, and that is not faith. Hold on to the purpose, and you don't necessarily have to think about it every day, because God may even allow you to forget it, and you focus on your things that you're doing. But then when God calls you, which he will do, which is the third thing, he will call you. When he calls you and asks you, are you ready? Then be ready for whatever it is, because whatever it is that God has planned for you, whatever purpose he's got on you, it's going to be good, and your life is going to be good, and he is going to make you comfortable. Whatever purpose he's given to you, he's also given you the tools for you to be able to accomplish it. No matter how big or how small it is, there is nothing that is above anything else. Everything is purposeful and everything is useful. So it doesn't matter whether it's a big, massive international ministry, or if it's a small ministry, or even if it's like a ministry with your own household, looking after your family, your kids, doesn't matter what it is. It can be an internal outreach, could be an external outreach. There's none bigger or better than the other. The fact that we get to partner with God on what he's created us to do is the blessing. For me, it's the blessing. So yeah, I'm excited for what God's got for me, and I'm excited that the time is now. And it also doesn't mean that you drop all the things that you're already doing, because if there is to be a transition, then God will transition you through it. If there is a reason for you to drop everything, God will tell you to drop it. But then, because he's already provided the next thing for you. So yes, I just want to encourage you that I can understand that when you have something, you think that when God's given you a vision or purpose, sometimes you think it's going to happen straight away. And sometimes it takes years. Like for me, it's been 13 years. It's 13 years since I had the dream. Actually, longer than 13 years. I think it's about 16 years ago I had the dream. So about 16 years. And, and now I see that happening. And it's like, and although initially I thought, hey, it's going to be instant, I realized it wasn't. And the best thing that you can do is just kind of hold it and incubate it, because sometimes God just wants you to just hold it. Once you've got it, just hold it, just incubate it, and know that, yeah, it's going to happen. You don't have to work it out. You don't have to try and figure out it's going to be this way, it's going to be that way. Just know and have faith that it is going to happen. And when God's ready, he'll call you. But when he calls you, he will equip you. He doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So you don't need to go and get yourself skilled up or whatever, because he will qualify you according to whatever is his purpose for you. So that's what I want to talk about today. And yeah, so what we're going to call this series, we'll call it the Baggy Jumper series. Yeah, this is the Baggy Jumper series, because my jumper is baggy. Yeah. So if you're looking for my series on faith, just look for the Baggy Jumper series and you'll find it. Take care, guys. I just want you to know that God loves you. He loves you so much. He loves you so much. He wants you to know that. And he wants to basically pour out all his love on you. And all you've got to do is just let him in. He's knocking on the door, just waiting for you to open the door to let him in. He's a very generous and a very kind God. He will not push his way through. But when you open the door, he will come, and he'll come into your life and come into your heart, and he'll give you the warmth that you need. And guess what? Guess who else loves you? I do. But you know what? My love is nowhere near as far or as deep as the love that God has for you. So if you're going to choose between the two, choose his love. Take care, guys, everyone, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.